We are back. Let's keep going. Let's keep surfing the wave. Love to everybody. I hope you're vibrating. I know it's heavy. It's hard for me to even like smile right now, man. It's hard to smile, man, when you see our people being misled. They're being put in protests that have nothing to do with them. They're not organized by our people. But since these people get ahead of us in organizing, we say, well, we should do something. Oh, look, there's a protest being organized in Baton Rouge. There's a protest being organized in Dallas. Then something staged happened, and then it's put on the people, but everybody knows it's a setup. And that's the double talk. Everybody knows the violence that, this movement is being shrouded in is covering black people, like a storm. And they're being put in the proxy up against another proxy, and both are ran by the same. The same people organizing these protests are the same people organizing, against the protest. And you're caught in the middle like a sandwich. You're getting sandwiched. So we're getting the drop, and we're figuring out our freedom, that we are prisoners of war, what exactly happened, and who, we are. We got to understand who we are. No longer should it be a mystery who we are. They found us here, but let's get it. I'm going to get some of that Lexwill drop today. Just a couple minutes of it, I could drop hours of this, but, I'm going to do my best, to not do a 2-hour video today, man. So love to everybody, man, that's, helping us build this frequency. We are rebuilding here, man. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to cue this Lexwill up. But first, I'm going to get back into the history of the United States. J.C. Ridpath. We're going to get back on that part 1. I'll put it up so everybody can get it. Real careful. This is a gem. And it will tear on me. I wish I had a PDF. I'm actually, somebody put a PDF up before, and I'll try to find it. I should have a PDF for this, so hopefully I can get some version of it, but it's not going to be the exact same pages because this is a specific, I believe this one is published, this is the 1876 joint. You just read it. Alright, so there's a lot of different versions of it. They got the first White House that you built. Remember, this is the District of Columbia, right? So it's a district. It's not a state. It's a corporation that's ruling other corporations, including you, right? So it's rulership on your soil. And we're just talking about equality. But not even equality, but, being equitable, being fair. Is it fair to continue to shroud and destroy these people based on this dumb Diversas and Papal bulls and stuff that happened before this? Again, Lexwill just kicked that these dumb Diversas was just to make it legal. They had been doing this stuff. We see all the other voyages, right? So, this is the first or a sketch of the White House right after it was built. You see them just enjoying it. And then you'll see the same images of very similar buildings that they found when they came to Mexico, came to Peru. But all right, let's just get this right quick, and I'm going to get back in this Lex. Lex got the drop. It's tearing on me. I got to be real. I tried to tape it, as you can see, but it's still like falling apart, man. Alright. I done lost my page. I'm messing around. Alright, here we go. Alright, part 1. Aboriginal America, the red men, origin, distribution, character. Again, we got this before. I'm gonna breeze through this part because I got a lot more to get to. But specifically regarding not only Pacacutec, the Inca Empire, Super Inca, someone dropped in Drop Nation, they dropped that super means black. Super means black, so it was Super Inca, black Inca. Alright, Pacacutec. But you're going to see in the panel that I'm going to show again. I dropped it before, and I'll leave the link to it, where you can see all the last 7 Inca emperors in succession, and then you see Charles Quarto. Then you see King Charles cutting off their succession, and he's a little darker than them. He ain't no white man. He's a little darker than them. And then his lineage reigned all the way up to be king of Spain. Another Charles was king of Spain in 1788 to 1808. So these are dark melanated people ruling Spain in 1788 to 1800s. Can you get a perspective of reality? So you got your leaders jumping up, black power. And then you see the lineage cutting off our lineage, looking just like us. So we got to be careful how we flow with our energy, how we awaken and connect. We want identity, but how bad? Do you want it bad enough to study and show yourself approved? So this is some drop. Again, we'll try to find a PDF for it. Someone did drop it on me. The primitive inhabitants of the New World were the red men called Indians. Ruddy. This book is a ruddy red. All right. The name Indian was conferred upon from them, from their real or fancied, imagined resemblance to the people of India. So you're going to get the hijack, but we got a lot of babies, as you know, in this. And I'm going to show you the number one hijack in this whole thing. Starts right away. I mean, this is part one. This is right. This is part one. So I want to tear this book up, but this is part one. So look what he gets out the way right away, just because he's not writing this for you, right? He ain't writing this for niggas. He ain't putting this in a book for you. He's putting this in a book for the people coming over, colonizing you. These Christians that don't want to feel bad about slaughtering Israelites when they knew that you came from Israel, right? They knew that it was right here. They knew that this was Eden, this is Zion, this is everything right here. Peru, Saline, Inca, Cuzco, Navel, center of the earth. So, but without any such similarity, the name would have been the same for Columbus and his followers believing that they had rediscovered the Indies. All right, so we know Columbus in his own, so that's, we're getting to the hijack because we got evidence of Columbus's writings being infatuated with Isaiah and Jerusalem, knowing he was coming here to fulfill some orient of prophecy by finding us, because they thought the world was ending in 1650. This is in their books. So here's some, we got their books to contradict their hijack, so it's all good. So we know he wasn't lost. He had a mission, and we know that in 1492 they went on the same mission against other melanated people in Europe and Spain, exiling other people out of there, Jews or Moors. Everything was going on, right? So these are different tribal war, dark melanated bloodlines going to war there, going to war here, and the Renaissance is what you see around you today, right? Because all these melanated people are now enslaved together. And now who's on top? Now who's sitting pretty? Who got the corporation owned by the corporation? And as long as you're ignorant, as long as we're ignorant collectively to the fact that if we're on the land for thousands of years and someone hijacks it for a couple hundred years, is that forever? Is there an expiration date on that shit, on that corporation? I mean, do we always got to pay mortgage and rent to live on our land? So take everything and then we have to pay. See what I'm saying? How long shall we endure, right? Second Edris. All right, so let's see what he gets out the way. He says, the origin of the North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. We have no idea. That they are one of the older races of mankind cannot be doubted. They are oldest. We can't doubt that. But at what date? We don't know. Or by what route? We don't know. They came to the Western continent is an unsolved problem. We don't know anything about you, anything about the Negro. But here's what I do know. Ready for the number one hijack? Many theories have been proposed to account for the red man's presence in the New World, but most of them have been vague and unsatisfactory. Even the theories have been unsatisfactory. Even the theories about you have been vague. But here's what this guy, this author, does know, even if he knows nothing else. Here's what he has to tell you with no evidence behind it. The notion that the Indians are the descendants of the Israelites is absurd. The origin of North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. We have no clue. That they're one of the oldest races of mankind cannot be doubted. They're the oldest race ever. But at what date or by what route they came to the Western continent is an unsolved problem. We have no clue about the date or time. We don't know anything about your migration. Many theories have been proposed to account for the red man's presence in the New World. Many theories, but most of them are vague and unsatisfactory. These theories are vague and unsatisfactory about you. However, here's what I have to put in my book to satisfy the Christians so that they don't think they're slaughtering God's people, his people, his children. Here's what I must put in. The notion, even the thought, even the inkling that the Indians are descendants of Israelites is absurd. We looked up absurd. That means damn near like disrespectful. It means inappropriate, unthinkable. It's unthinkable, but we have no clue. We have nothing to tell you. And then he just moves on with whatever else. So let's just keep going. Now, here's where we pay attention, and I'm going to drop that Lexwill drop so you see how these things correlate. All right. So then he throws in some title. The Kamchatkans. Kamchatkans. He says that the Kamchatkans, coming by way of the Bering Strait, reached the frozen northwest and became the progenitors of the red men has no evidence other than conjecture to support it. So he's shooting down something right now. Now we can get some babies out. Why is he shooting this down after calling it absurd to have a notion that you are God's people, his people? It's unthinkable. It's inappropriate to even consider yourself his people. But we have no clue about the dates, migrations. We don't know anything about you. We can't date you. You're the oldest race ever. But the fact that you're his people is crazy. Right? So that's clear, hijack. Then he drops this name, Kamchatkans. All right, check out where my hand is right here. Right there. And just read that. We're going to continue it. So this Kamchatkans, somebody get that, look it up. It's another title. Became the progenitors of the red men has no evidence other than conjecture to support it until further research shall throw additional light on the history of migrations of the primitive races of mankind. The origin of the Indians will remain shrouded in mystery. But the notion that you're Israelites is absurd. He can't even just throw it on the table like, hey, they could be since we don't know anything. They could be Israelites since it will always be shrouded in mystery. You know what a mystery is, right? You watch Columbo, Murder, She Wrote. Mysteries. They're trying to put clues together. So how are you trying to put clues on a people and then turn around bold face and say it's absurd to consider them anything? They could be anything if they're shrouded in mystery. If it's just the origin of the North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. Complete. He didn't say halfway obscure. He didn't say it's kind of obscure, but we kind of know. He says it's completely obscure. We have no fucking clue. No fucking clue. However, the notion that you're Israelites is absurd to this author. So until further research shall throw additional light on the history and migrations of the primitive races of mankind, the origin of the Indians will remain shrouded in mystery, but you can't be Israelites. It is not unlikely that a more thorough knowledge of the North American languages may furnish a clue to the early history of the tribes that spoke them. Listen up. The Indians belong to the Ganawanian or bow and arrow family of men. Some races cultivate the soil, others have herds and flocks, and others build cities and ships. To the red man of the western continent, the chase was everything. Without the chase, he penned and languished and died. To smite with swift arrow the deer and the bear was the sole delight and profit of the primitive Americans. Such a race could live only in a country of woods and wild animals. No, you want to stay in man-made cities where you can't hunt no more. Such a race. Who's that? The Indigenous Americans. Who are you? An Indigenous American. Negro, whatever you want to call yourselves. Get off these titles. You're a prisoner of war, according to the dumb Diversas. But look at these little titles. I mean, we just dropped the Kamachkans, right? Now we got the Ganawanian. Be careful with this. All right, here we go. The Ganawanian right there. Top of the paragraph. Ganawanian. Or bow and arrow family of men. All right. So such a race, you could only live in a country of woods and wild animals and unlimited hunting grounds, forests and unlimited hunting grounds. They're poisoning all your food. You got Monsanto on the corn, which reminded me, man, I'm glad I said corn. Winnifer Holcomb, you got the corn drop. Winnifer Holcomb got the corn drop. I got to pull that up right now, my bad. Winnifer Holcomb got the corn drop. So, Winnifer Holcomb just dropped how corn is indigenous to America. He proved it with much documentation. Definitely check out Winnifer Holcomb. And that's really the quandary, because in Matthew 12, you have Jesus picking corn, and corn is indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. Read Matthew 12. Matter of fact, do I have it up? I mean, am I crazy enough to have up Matthew 12? Read it. Read Matthew 12. Now, this Jesus is what? Living what? Around from 5 AD or BC to what? You know, what's this? When he's picking corn, about 25 AD, 30 AD in the old world, right? Or what they're calling the old world, which is really the new world, right? So, he's walking around the Middle East in Africa. Let's just call it, it's on the same tectonic plate, right? So he's walking around in Africa picking corn in 30 AD. When Columbus just discovered, and all these Spaniards just discovered corn in 1492. Did not we give them corn? Did not corn become the #1 export? Is it not still damn near the #1 export? Don't we use it in 70, 80% of damn near everything? And didn't Monsanto hijack it? And doesn't Winnifer Holcomb give you the drop on the hijack of the corn? I don't want to switch off to the corn just yet, because you know I'm crazy enough to do it. But I'm going to get to the Winnifer Holcomb at the end of this. And I'll get back to this corn, but I want you to understand Matthew 12. How can Jesus be picking corn on the Sabbath in Africa in 30 AD when they just got the drop on corn from the Americas in the 1400s? No, literally. Corn's indigenous here. They didn't have it there. They export it from here to there. Do your research. Winnifer Holcomb's going to drop that, though. I'll make sure I pull it up before I forget. You know how the drop is. Corn in the Holy Bible. My man Winnifer, man. King's the Winnifer Holcomb. Real talk. Straight familiar. How long is this? 18 minutes? All right, cool. We got it.
And I was reading the Bible and it said corn. I was like, corn. Then I would ask somebody who was supposedly learned more than me.
I got you, King. I'm going to table that to the end of this. Right after Lex, we dropping that.
I kind of...
All right. So let's keep it going. Stay on track. We got some corn drop. It's going to be the corniest drop of all time, man. Let's go. Page 42, still in part 1. The Indians belong to the Ganawanian or bow and arrow family of men. Some races cultivated the soil. Others have herds and flocks. Others build cities and ships. To the red man of the western continent, the chase was everything. Got my broom. to the red man of the western continent, the chase was everything. Without the chase, he pinned and languished and died. To smite with swift arrow the deer and the bear was the sole delight and profit of the primitive Americans. Such a race could only live in a country of woods and wild animals. The unlimited hunting grounds, forest and hill and river were the Indians' earthly paradise. Eden! The unlimited hunting grounds, forests and hills and river were the Indian's early paradise and the type of his home hereafter until they invaded you. And you got the documentation, dumb Diversas. The American Indians or Aborigines belong to several distinct families of nations. All right, above the 60th parallel of latitude, the whole continent from Labrador to Alaska was inhabited by the Esquimaux or Eskimo. So then they're going to get into the Eskimo. They say the name means eaters of raw meat. So is that you, the Eskimo? You already know, right? Their name literally means they eat raw meat. So these are just heathen like a motherfucker. You go to a steakhouse, watch how they order they meat. Rare, medium rare, cold on a cold plate. Real talk. I mean, that's just what it is. Alright, so then they mentioned the Algonquins. And that's what I want to get down. South of the country of the Algonquins. Were the Cherokees. South of the country of Algonquin were the Cherokees and the Mobilian nations, the former occupying Tennessee and the latter covering the dominion between lower Mississippi and the Atlantic. The Cherokees were highly civilized for a primitive people, and contact with the whites seemed to improve rather than degrade them. Why? First, I'll just let you get it, and then I'm going to say why. Where are we at? This paragraph there. Woo! Still together. Why? Let's get it again. South of the country of the Algonquins were the Cherokees and the Mobilian nations, the former occupying Tennessee and the latter covering the dominion between lower Mississippi and the Atlantic. The Cherokees were highly civilized for a primitive people, hijack, and contact with the whites seemed to improve rather than degrade it. Now, at first I'm like, all right, well, that means that they must have all just sold out to the whites, right? They must have all just X, Y, and Z. That's when you got us breaking off, right? We have a Cherokee nation, and then you got people breaking off into their own things. You got turncoats, you got the Buffalo Soldiers, you got other things happening. Also, we're talking about Cherokee, honestly, we're talking about Mexico, we're talking about Peru. It's not just North America. We're talking about the Americans. That was they're calling, these Cherokees. So how did the contact with whites improve them? Well, you're talking about a hijack's perspective. So from the perspective of this author, as a hijack, he can see that, okay, well, Montezuma might be making deals with the Spaniards, right? I think Hiram Art dropped how they had some type of power over at least the last Montezuma, right? So now we're going to get into how this went down. So Lexwill drops on the last Montezuma, right? Atahualpa, you know what I'm saying? We're going to pronounce it, but I had just put up that image of literally King Charles IV with the last in succession of the Inca rulership. Go back a couple drops and look at the thumbnail. We're going to look at this image again. And it's the exact same person who Lexwill brought up. And he was spelling a... I mean, this is how we're working. I'm bringing it out. He's bringing it out. He's bringing it out. I'm bringing it out. They bringing it out. We're all bringing it out. We have the drop together. No way can I do this by myself. No way could any of us do it. To get where we need to go, we can all be intelligent brothers and sisters, right? We have all the drop to be intelligent brothers and sisters, but is being intelligent going to get us freedom? We need to work together to get freedom. That's it. There's an illusion called seclusion, and you don't belong to it. I'm just going to show it. Lexwill's going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and you are too, for most of y'all. Oh, you can see that name. Okay, I know it's a little blurry. Here we go. This is the image. All right, that's King. What's it say? Charles. Quarto. Atahualpa. You watch the Lexwill drop like we're about to drop. You see, this is what he comes to. This is Montezuma. That's the last one. Now, check it out. You see the difference between what they're wearing, the bonnet, right? Look at the cross. This cross cut them off. This cross is why we are called ourselves Christians. This cross right here with this dark brother is all over America now, and we don't think nothing of it. This is the last Montezuma. Look at him. Look, he's swole. Man, that's a bicep right there. That's your hijack. He looking like you. He looking like everybody. He's living in slavery with us too. Their descendants. They call themselves all kinds of names now. They say black power. He says, huh? What do you need? Black power. Hijack. You know what that look means. You know what that look means, man. Let's look at the full panel. So that was one, right? That was the last one. That's Montezuma, right? We'll get back to it. I just want to show this so I'm not teasing y'all. Y'all know where I'm getting at. All right. Here's the full panel. Read the inscription, the caption. Now, I just dropped on Pacacutek. Where's Pacacutek? So, you know, according to what I was looking at in Wikipedia, it was showing, okay, this is, you know, that he was one of the last, that he was reigning, from 1432 to, I believe, 1472 or 74. Speaking of, someone left me a message saying, you know, Wikipedia is not scholarly. I said, go look at the links, fool. Scroll and look at the links. By the way, I organized the links for y'all a little bit, so, you know, even with the new drop, I'll keep it organized with, you know, when we're talking about certain things with heritage, we're talking about flat drop, we're talking 432 drop. I try to separate those things for you. So, again, where's Pacacutek? Right here. Look at the name. Make sure you can see it. My bad. No, it's kind of bright. Look at the names. Alright, so this, if you can see it, that's Pacacutek. You know, it's very, very faint. It's not showing good. I'm trying to give it to you. You can see all their names all the way up to Atahualpa, Inca. So that's Montezuma. That's the last one. This is the last one. These are the ones before him. This is Pacacutek. This is King motherfucking Charles. Ruler. Y'all think this is a gang? You think Daniel 12 is a gang? A panel from the painting in the Larco Museum in Lima, Peru. depicting the Inca emperors. This panel shows the last 7 Inca emperors and the subsequent first European emperor of the Inca, Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, Charles Quinto, as the 15th Inca emperor. The painting can be dated circa 1800 because of the last 2 entries of Charles Tercero, Charles III, as the 24th Inca emperor, and his son Charles IV, Charles IV, House of Bourbon, as the 25th Inca emperor. Charles IV reigned as the King of Spain from December 14th, 1788 to March 19th, 1808, abdicated in favor of his son Ferdinand VII. This is real life. This is real spill. That's Montezuma, the last one. All right. So when they came here, Columbus said, "I'm coming here to seize Mount Zion and Jerusalem." And the Dumb Diversas is written in issued in 1452, and he's reigning here at 1432. That means he was reigning. Excuse me. This is Pakakutek, 1432. So Pakakutek was reigning in 1432 to 1470 something. So Dumb Diversas was directed specifically to Pakakutek, which is why my man is named Tupac. See, hey, Tupac's mama or his people had to drop. Tupac is named after Pakakutek. Pakakutek. His mom named him after what you can call one of the last real kings of Jerusalem. Remember, Cuzco is the capital of the Inca Empire. Cuzco is the navel of the earth. These people were making pilgrimages to the navel of the earth. They were making pilgrims were coming to America to seize Jerusalem. Does that make sense? What do pilgrims do? They go on pilgrimages to the Holy Land. So, dig on it. I'll, on that note, wait, let me get it out of there. Is that all I wanted out of here before I go on? So let me get this last part. South of the country of the Algonquins were the Cherokees and the Mobilian nations. Mobile, Alabama, right? So we got all our people right here. These Cherokees, it says, were highly civilized, and the contact with the whites seemed to improve them, right? So that's just the white man telling them that when we conquered Jerusalem, we improved these people. That's my take on it. The principal tribes of the Mobilians, listen up, were the Yamassees, the Creeks of Georgia. So you got Georgia, the Creeks, the Seminoles of Florida, and the Choctaws and Choctaws of Mississippi. These displayed the usual characteristics of red men. Ruddy. These displayed the usual characteristics of red men, with the additional circumstance that below the 32nd parallel of latitude, evidences of temple building not practiced among the northern tribes begin to appear. So they're saying that these people were building temples, right? These displayed the usual characteristics of red men, with the additional circumstance that below the 32nd parallel of latitude, evidences of temple building not practiced among the northern tribes begin to appear. And then we got this before. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian nations, talking about the Aztecs and Toltecs, but at the same time among the most feeble. A hijack is calling them feeble. But would you tell this Aztec warrior to his motherfucking face that he is feeble? Would you tell him that you're not warlike, man, Mr. Aztec? Wait, you can't have it both ways. You can't say the Aztecs are a bunch of warmongering savages and then say they're feeble. Wait, the Aztecs couldn't have kicked the Spaniards out of America in 1638. Didn't the Aztecs and the Mayans say they kicked the Spaniards out of America in their own cliches in 1638, and then they came back with diseases? They regrouped and came back to the jungles with diseases? But they're feeble, huh? At the same time, the most feeble. The best builders in wood and stones. Oh, so we're the best builders in wood and stone, but at the same time, the least warlike of any of the Aborigines. Aztecs. When have you heard this shit? We're savages. Either we're warlike or we're not. Either you came over to find a peaceful people, just like it says in American Holocaust, these people were wearing all white, the cities were clean, everything was organized. That makes sense that they're not very warlike. Now maybe they're just chilling. Maybe they're just living in Jerusalem in peace, not trying to have war with nobody. But we're going to read a little more. So, okay, are you telling us that we were living in peace and then y'all brought the war on us, which of course we know, or were we savages? Or is it a mixture of injection and interpretation, right? Were we warlike and peaceful? And this is the hijack's interpretation. But then it says, such is a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored races in the New World. Such is a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored races in the New World. Get that whole page. Get all that. Let's keep going. So, I'll say this. Let's get to the Lexwill drop. Feeling good today. I feel better. I got my rest. So thank y'all, man. Everyone gave me some good energy on that. I needed it. You know, man. Babies on babies on babies on babies. Hold up, King. I got you, King. Hold up, King. Hold up. Let's go.
That book talks about that. Okay. So something came up, and when we go over here, and we're looking at the Lapan, the southern Athabascan.
Hold up. You know they try to make everything blurry where you can't see it all of a sudden.
The Athabascan.
We might just have to listen if they make it too blurry for us.
Scholarship require the apostolic.
All right, let's just listen up.
Of today's Nestle, Alan, UBS text.
I know it's blurry, but listen up.
That's my ass. As that book talks about that. Okay. So
let's focus on the images.
And when we go over here, and we're looking at the Lapan, the southern Athabascan. Athabascan, Baskin Robbins, the Athabascan, the Baskin, okay.
Athabascan, the Baskin Robbins, the Athabascan, the Baskin Robbins, the Athabascan, the Baskin Robbins. Okay, I got you. What does it say right here? Hopefully you can. Sorry. I'm just tearing my book up. I don't want to. I'm going to do it like this. Do it like this. Come out here. Come out to the light. I can see you in the sunshine. All right. Hopefully you can see this. Do it like this. Do it like that. All right. Hopefully you can see it. Scoot it over. Destroying my book. Sorry about my balconies. A lot of toys. All right, look. Right here. This one right here. Athabascan. You see Shoshanes, Comanches, Apache. This is the Californian. This is the clan mass. He mentioned something with a K earlier. Dakotas, Mobilians. Oh. Mobilians, Seminole. Algonquins. Canada. The brother just dropped how Canada is pretty much means black, right? So Canadian is slang for black. This means black. Canada. Iroquois, black. Algonquin. Mobile. Comanche, Shoshone, and Athabascans. At the baskets. Hopefully everybody can see that. All right, let's go back. Hopefully y'all can see that. If y'all couldn't, I'll do it again so y'all can see it better. You dig on it. Let's keep going. So we see it. So we see at the baskets. So the brother's kicking it right there. We got substantiating evidence in this, The History of the United States by J.C. Ridpath. Let's go.
So I was like, wait, let me look at some Arnoldus Montanus pictures, because like from time to time I see this one cat's picture, and I know his name starts with an ATH, and I'm like, does that have anything to do with that ATH cat? And I was like, oh, like, his name, and I know every time I see the Arnoldus Montanus pictures and shit, like I see his face come up, so just looking at, Montezuma, his name comes up, and there it is, it's ATHA. Baliba, Atahualpa. Now you see this picture in color. Now look at this picture. It is in color. You see this dude is a nigga. Now you see this shit in the black and white. He looked like one of those crusty ass Indians and shit. He just looks like a Mongol Indian. It's not until this picture is in its original state that you see that this guy is a Negro Indian or a Cherokee. Or whatever fucking bloodline he comes from. He's Afro. And this is what they don't want you to know. Atahualpa, right? John Ogilvy, Arnoldus Montanus, right? Ulamis Rex.
Listen up.
So this is Peru. Alright, so I want to show you.
Yes. So this is Peru. Yes. See, it's the same kingdom. Mexico, Peru. They've separated all this stuff. Oh, there's a king of Mexico, there's a king of Peru. Same king. Same Inca king. Same Montezuma. Same. Same. Peru. Mexico. They came for Jerusalem. These were the last men standing. These were the last chiefs standing, protecting the holy city. And who was fighting with them, Negro? Who was fighting with these dark people? Where did they go? Where, oh where could they be? Could they be calling themselves Egyptians? Should it be wanting to think that they're from Africa when everything we're digging up says that you are buried in obscurity and they'll never know? But the one thing they throw out right away in your face is that you come from Haya, all that exists. That you come from the original. They'll say you're the original seed, but then they won't connect you to being Israel, which is malarkey. Alright, so let's keep getting it. Doing a good job. Here we go. My man is doing a great job. Let's go.
So, now, we saw maps and shit. Oh, we didn't do that yet. Alright, so let's step on it. So, after, there's his name. Alright, so then you type in his name. Atahualpa.
Uh-huh.
And then you get all kinds of shit, right?
Uh-huh.
You get this dude, and they say this is Imperator. I don't know what the fucking Imperator is. Yeah, then this pops up, right? And, they're trying to change the spelling right here. They don't want the H in there. They're like, I'll show you what you want, but just take the H out. A-T-A-B. So look right here. Follow my hand. A-T-A-H.
Ah.
Alright?
A-T-A-H.
So, Atahualpa. Alright, so they threw this dude in.
Atahualpa.
Atahualpa, Inca. It is said that Atahualpa fascinated by Spanish knowledge of reading and writing, asked a soldier to write the name of God on his thumbnail. And
Look at the spelling. It's exact. Atahualpa. One more time. Let's bring it back up. Atahualpa. Same exact person. This is Montezuma. In Peru, being cut off by the cross, and this dark brother right here, King Charles. And later his family of Charleses become also the King of Spain in 1788. So just think about this Negro. In the 1800s, the King of Spain was looking like this. So how recent is this hijack where you think all of Europe is white? And those are their castles. They couldn't tell these brothers that, so they shipped them out and put them in slavery with the remnant of these people. They have to take you off of where you're from, right? They have to keep switching you different places because they can't really enslave you on your own land. They couldn't enslave us necessarily in Peru the same way or Mexico the same way. They had to take us other areas. And then they took our family up here and put them there. And then take us here and put them there. Not just across the seas like that, but just even in our own lands, like just switching it up. A lot of us in, North America came from South America. A lot of us in South America may have came from North America. Who knows? All right. Atahualpa. All right. Atahualpa. So we understand.
Name of God. Here, Tirano. El Terreno. And that's what they wrote. Reno, whatever. Okay, so we can look through these some other time, or you can do it on your own. All you gotta do is type in this dude's name. See what all comes up. You see through all this, all their little chupacabra worship and whatever the fuck dog type shit that thing is in the background. You see he's dealing with the serpents, You can see he don't got no regular, average Indian hair. He doesn't have caucus hair. This is one of those wool afros that goes straight down. I know, because I got one. Kiss my ass. Now, and we're dealing with Arnold's Montezuma.
Montezuma.
I just wanted to double check. But then they have this, right? This is, right, Conquistador. Aztec warrior, Aztec leader, Aztec emperor, Emperor Montezuma. So this is their image of Montezuma, right? But you type in Arnold's Montanus, you gotta know who made it, man. And these, same person that did this one. Excuse me. Same person that did this one.
Same person.
Where's the color picture?
Same person.
Man. It is a nice picture. I just lost it that quick. You see how quick you got to be with these pictures, people?
So I'll let y'all dig on that. But I wanted to get that to the brother, you know what I'm saying? Who's done nothing but been triumphant, man, with the drop, man. You can go back to the top, and see his journey. And, he has followed the breadcrumbs of drop. You know what I'm saying? And all praise our Creator, for giving us all these breadcrumbs, for our energy to tap into right now when we need it the most, and that is Daniel 12. All right. Now, before I get to this Winnifer Holcomb, I'll just hit a couple more spots here and get it going with us. Get us going. All right. Let's get it. Sorry for the glare, I know. I'm right on my balcony, so the sun be. All right. Now remember this map here. The voyages. What does it say right here? Period of voyages and discoveries. So these are all the voyages and discoveries of your land from 1000 to 1620. And we remember right here at the end, in the 1600s, right, we got, this is Columbus, discovery of America. And right behind that, 1603, you have James, King James, Charles. You got the earlier Charleses coming over already. So this lineage of James and Charles is these dark people. All right, the same dark people we just showed you. Right? This Charles, this lineage, James, cutting off your heritage. Cutting off your heritage. Your heritage, Tupac, Montezuma, King Charles, King of Spain later, same family, 1788. I got a bigger shot of this, but you can see it a little bit. This is their Divine Mary, right? She has, this is Jesus, same thing. Female, male principles, same thing. Son, you see these Indians are underneath her. And they're all worshiping this hijack. All these people are worshiping this God, right? This hijack. And what does this God have? What does this Jesus have? What does this Christianity have? Indians. What do our Indians say they are today? Christians. Here's the beginning of it, little Christian Indian. Before you called yourself Christian, this is you. Being brought back to Spain, Portugal, Seville, Africa, from America. This is you. A lot of our family in West Africa came from America. That's why you've been fighting in tribal wars since you've been back or over there on the land foreign to you because you came from this side. This is you. Alright. So we ain't play. No to play. Alright, put that down again. Aboriginal map. Discoveries. You got your James. So just here alone, understanding this. If you got your KGV and you're clinging to it and saying, look, brother, it says right here. But look at right here. But brother, it says. But my KGV, you know what I'm saying? Because the king, this is the best translation to teach the people, my brother. King James wrote it, the one who came to America and took my documents in 1603. The one that Columbus says he was working on even in Grenada. How he had all these documents pointing to Jerusalem, showing him where Jerusalem was, all the drop on Jerusalem. And he passed it in. Now you got James coming over getting his documentation and doing what? Going back to Europe as a European, a dark European, because Europeans are dark. And doing what? Writing the 1611 hijack after his 1603 voyage to get your documents and hijack them and put a New Testament in there. Why, oh why, would King James put the New Testament in it? Why are brothers dropping all these comments and doing all this stuff? Saying, look, man, I got scripture. I stick to the scripture. This New Testament is scripture. Christ. It's always going to be Christ. It's always going to be Yahushua, Yeshua, all this stuff. That only came in through the New Testament. You're defending something that literally came in through the hijack. That literally came into play after this. That's what you're defending. The European, King James. Why, oh why would he keep the New Testament or bring about the New Testament and hijack your real Torah with his New Testament that he got your documents in 1603? Man, I'll show you this a million times. I don't care. King James Charles over there. Charles, 1600s, voyage, Christopher Columbus, discoveries. This again is the period of discoveries, voyages of discoveries, right? Manifest destiny, doctrines of discovery. Why would King James come over here and then hijack you into Christianity so you got your Yeshua and your Yahushua? You just are rocking Hebrew versions of their hijack. And then using Torah to show to tie in prophecy, to tie into their hijack, which is the exact same thing that they've always done. They used your prophecy to tie into their hijack, to say you must come through a son to get to your father. And not go directly to your energy transfer flow. When your father breathed his energy, his spirit, his ruach, he breathed it. Your inheritance was breathed into you as breath, as existence, as establishment, as Heya. It is sound, it is vibration, it is frequency, or it is nothing at all. You are a direct energy transflow, or you are nothing at all. If you're hijacked, you're nothing at all. No matter what you call it or who you claim to be. Either you come from your creator only, either he is your savior only, or there's nothing at all. There is no inheritance. There is no ruach when you take away the direct energy transfer flow. When you take away the direct energy from you, the creator, and something else comes and hijacks you and puts a merle up to cut off your succession and lets you know that they're going to come with a 1611 version of your hijack, and now you're claiming all this is Yeshua and Yahushua. You were better off here. Even with their hijacks, you were better off, man. You had freedom. You were in paradise. And that's how much Heya loves you, is that even with your hijacks, you were still found in paradise. Don't ever tell your father he don't love you. He just recently let them fuck you up and take it all because he was tired. And now we're back. Deal with it or get left on. Oh, it's only making sense. So, all right, I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to get to this Winnifer Holcomb. Spanish Discoveries in America. This is chapter, what's that, 4? Yo, somebody asked me where I got this book from. I found this book in you know, some random little vintage shop out here in Thousand Oaks in California. You know what I'm saying? So I got it for 15 bucks. Here's my slip. So it's called The Open Book at the Oaks, and that's where I found this particular drop at, you know. So go check it out. All right, so Spanish discoveries in America. We're going to get to a little bit of this with a little bit of that. And this is actually going to discuss the death of Montezuma. So, you know, we heard different things, but let's get to what this author is saying about the death of Montezuma, or Atahualpa. Okay. I want to get right to it. The year 1517 was marked by the discovery of the Yucatan and the Bay of Campeche by Fernandez de Cordova while exploring the northern coast of the country. His company was attacked by the natives, and he himself mortally wounded. So he got his ass kicked by you. During the next year, the coast of Mexico was explored for a great distance by Grijalva, assisted by Cordova's pilot. And in the year 1519, Fernando Cortez landed his fleet at Tabasco South, and began his famous conquest of Mexico. As soon as the news of the invasion spread abroad, the subjects of the Mexican Empire were thrown into consternation, or prison. Armies of the native warriors gathered to resist the progress of the Spaniards, but were dispersed by the invaders. What is it, them Diversas? Your invasion. What are you? A prisoner of war because of your invaders. What can you claim? Asylum. What can you claim? Refugee status from your invaders. That's your title. Prisoner of war. Will set you free. Alright. After freeing the coast of his opponents, Cortez proceeded westward to Veracruz, a seaport 180 miles southeast of the Mexican capital. Here he was met by ambassadors from the celebrated Montezuma, emperor of the country. Okay, he was met by him. All right, so we're talking 1519. All right. So this is Paca Kutek. This is Tupac. All right. 1432. Now we got over here. So by the time we got Montezuma over here, 1519 or so. Hey. Oh. All right. Look, man. You're going to see these images of Columbus and Cortez, but let me tell you, man, the power behind them, looking like this, looking like that. Your brother sent them to you. These are mercenaries. They're only mercenaries. They don't own nothing. They don't have nothing. They're mercenaries. They set up a corporation on you. But this was the power. And then they overthrew that power. So Montez, or Atahualpa, right? Here he was met by ambassadors from the celebrated Montezuma, or Atahualpa, emperor of the country. From him they delivered messages and exhibited great anxiety lest Cortez should march into the interior. So their story is, oh, well, they thought these people were white gods and prophets and said, oh, please come on our land. This is a different story. He's saying that, nah, they were not cool with these people coming to their land. So they didn't want Cortez to march into their interior. So he assured them that such was indeed his purpose, that his business in the country was urgent, and that he must confer with Montezuma in person. So Cortez said, look, I got to just meet him in person, man. I got a message for him. I came a long way. I got to see this Montezuma. I got to see the king of Jerusalem. We came here for Jerusalem, man. Not for a tour. We came here for the gold, man. We came here for everything. The ambassadors tried in vain to dissuade the terrible Spaniard. They made him costly presents and then hastened back to their alarm, to alarm their sovereign, to their alarmed sovereign. So everybody was alarmed, dissuaded. They tried to talk Cortez like, nah, man, you can't come this way, man. So what happened? So they tried to make him presents. All right. So whatever reason, they say, look, man, here, take some stuff and go. Montezuma immediately dispatched them a second time with presents more valuable. So the first presents weren't enough to dissuade Cortez. He said, damn, they got a lot of drop. He kept going. He gave them more drop. They said, more drop. Keep going. So Montezuma immediately dispatched them a second time with presents still more valuable and with urgent appeals to Cortez to proceed no further. But the cupidity of the Spaniards was now inflamed to the highest pitch, and burning their ships behind them, they began their march towards the capital. Cortez burned all the ships and said, look, man, we're here to stay. And then it was on, right? The Mexican emperor, by his messengers, forbade their approach to the city. Still they pressed on. The nations tributary to Montezuma threw off their allegiance, made peace with the conqueror, and even joined his standard. So the nations tributary to Montezuma threw off their allegiances. He was betrayed by the tributaries, whoever they are, to Montezuma, betrayed their allegiance to Montezuma, or Atahualpa, made peace with the conqueror, so they turned, you got it, and even joined his standard. And these are, again, your buffalo soldiers and those that are hunting down their own people. People had to trade on us. People had to do treaties. I wonder if these are the same people that made treaties. The nation's tributary. I wonder if the nation's tributary are the same people who made treaties. Well, clearly it says the nation's tributary to Montezuma threw off their allegiance, made peace with the conqueror, and even joined his standard. And who got all these treaties protecting them now? Making deals with the devil. The irresolute, and facilitating Indian monarch knew not what to do. The Spaniards came in sight of the city, a glittering and splendid version of spires and temples, and the poor Montezuma came forth to receive his remorseless enemies. So in American Holocaust, it reads how they were just walking through, seeing all these floating houses. The cities were so clean, all this stuff, as if they were just taking a nice tour. In reality, they were just marching forward. Those were the armies marching forward right there and there. They were marching forward. It was beautiful to them, right? To you, it was destruction. So Montezuma was like, damn, these people are remorseless. On the morning of the 8th of November, listen up, 1519, the Spanish army marched over the causeway leading into Mexico, capital city, and was quartered in the great central square near the temple of the Aztec god of war. All right, so again, we're going to get back to the American Holocaust. I wish I had that book right now because it's correlating everything, except they say it like it's some type of tour they're getting by the Aztecs. And in reality, they're just marching forward to conquer. They're just invading. This is the invasion. We're literally reading about the invasion. Your invasion. Why are you in the slums right now? Huh? Not in palaces. Why are you in slums? This is why. It was now wintertime. For a month, Cortez remained quietly in the city. He was permitted to go about freely with his soldiers and was even allowed to examine the sacred altars and shrines where human sacrifices were daily offered up to the deities of Mexico. He made himself familiar with the defenses of the capital and the Mexican mode of warfare. On every side he found inexhaustible stores of provisions, treasures of gold and silver. Every side he found provisions and treasures of gold and silver. Everywhere he looked was gold. All gold, everything. Literally, this is Trinidad James. Got to burn you up inside to know what they really took from you, right? On every side, he found inexhaustible stores. Inexhaustible. They never exhausted. It never ceased. Of gold and silver. And what greatly excited his solicitude arsenals filled with bows and javelins. So he found arsenals filled with bows and javelins. But although surrounded with splendor and abundance, his own situation became extremely critical. The millions of natives who swarmed around him were becoming familiar with his troops and no longer believed them immortal. So here's that immortal story. All right, so some lied that they were gods and they are immortal, and then everyone's looking at them like, are these gods? Now, if the white man's being, if we go along with the story, if he's being considered a god to these people, right, they want to be gods, and they're just checking them out, then that means they ain't never seen these people before, or else they would have been figured out that these aren't gods. I mean, if we just take their story. So you're saying that this is the first time they've seen these people. That's how secluded you were in paradise. Our other melanated family knew of them very well, but we are just now getting the heathen. The heathen's just now showing up to us. But it's absurd that the Israelites, that the American Indians are Israelites. Yet we find in Menasseh in this world and other publications, they say that top two questions that baffle their highest scholarly community are: one, what happened to the tribes? And two, where did the American Indians come from? What happened to the tribes? And where did the American Indians come from? What happened to the Negro? Who is the Negro? Is their real question. And where the fuck did the Negro come from? But the notion that you're Israelites is absurd to this author, right? Even though it's in complete obscurity. All right, man, before I go crazy. So the millions of natives who swarmed around him were becoming familiar with his troops and no longer believed them immortal. There were mutterings of an outbreak which threatened to overwhelm him in an hour. In this emergency, the Spanish general adopted the bold and unscrupulous expedient of seizing Montezuma and holding him as hostage. So as soon as he thought these natives was going to have the drop on him, he took Montezuma. He took him. Right when he knew everyone was coming up against him. Because, hey, you're not warlike at all. You're just feeble. What is he afraid of, right? So he kidnapped Montezuma as hostage. A plausible pretext for this outrage was found in the fact that the Mexican government of the province adjacent to Veracruz had attacked the Spanish garrison at that place, and that Montezuma himself had acted with hostility and treachery towards the Spaniards. Of course, they're invading him, so he was treacherous towards the Spaniards while they were marching on the city. As soon as the emperor was in his power, Cortez compelled him. Now he's an emperor because he took down Jerusalem, just like Lex dropped. They're not emperors until they take down Jerusalem. Look at history. Look at the Romans. Look at the Greeks. Babylon's Assyrians. They got to take down Jerusalem to claim emperorship. They got to take the holy city captive to claim, all power, right? Emperor. As soon as the emperor was in power, Cortez compelled him to acknowledge himself as a vassal of the King of Spain and to agree to the payment of a sum amounting to $6,300,000 with the annual tribute afterwards. Was in his power. Excuse me. I knew I had mixed something up. So we know that's how they claim emperor status right here. We're still talking Montezuma. So he says as soon as the emperor was in his power. All right. So we're still talking Montezuma. Excuse me. So Cortez compelled him to acknowledge himself as a vassal of the King of Spain. That's when Montezuma had to get down and lay down. And to agree to the payment of a sum of amounting in $6,300,000. This is the drop. He said, man, you got to pay me this every year. $6 million, man. 300,000. In the meantime, Velasquez, the Spanish governor of Cuba, jealous of the fame of Cortez, so here's another Spaniard conquistador, had dispatched a force to Mexico to arrest his progress and to supersede him in command. So Velasquez, another conquistador, now wanted to supersede Cortez. So the expedition was led. All right, so we get into, now you got two hijacks going against each other. But let's get to the Montezuma. So to save himself from his peril, Cortez adopted a second shameless expedient more wicked than the first. Okay. Montezuma was compelled to go upon the top of the palace in front of the great square where the besiegers were gathered and to counsel them to make peace with the Spaniards. So he was ordered to do this because he was taken in custody. For a moment, there was universal silence. So this is the drop. This is how Montezuma died, according to this author, J.C. Ridpath, in the History of the United States, published in 1874 or 1876. So to save himself from peril, Cortez adopted a second shameless expedient more wicked than the first. Montezuma was compelled to go upon the top of the palace in front of the great square with the besiegers to gather and to counsel them to make peace with the Spaniards. For a time there was universal silence, then a murmur of vexation and rage, and then Montezuma was struck down by the javelins of his own subjects. So the people that had already what? The nations tributary to Montezuma threw off their allegiance, made peace with the conqueror, and even joined his standard. The nations tributary to Montezuma made treaties, threw off their allegiances, made peace with the conqueror, and even joined his standard. And who are the same people that killed Montezuma? Montezuma was compelled, forced to go upon the top of the palace in front of the great square where the besiegers were gathered. So all the people that were held captive, they were gathered there. Montezuma had to go in front of them to calm them down, to counsel them to make peace with the Spaniards. So they made him go talk to his own people. And while he was in the presence of his own people, the same people that threw off their allegiance and made peace with the conquerors and even joined their standard, the same motherfucking people, the same motherfucking turncoats, the same traitors, so Montezuma went in front of his people. For a moment there was universal silence, then a murmur of vexation and anger and rage, and then Montezuma was struck down by the javelins of his own subjects. In a few days he died of wretchedness and despair, and for a while the warriors, overwhelmed with remorse, abandoned the conflict. But with the renewal of strife, Cortez was obliged to leave the city. That's when he left, right? Finally, a great battle was fought, and the Spanish arms and valor triumphed. In the crisis of the struggle, the sacred Mexican banner was struck down and captured. Dismay seized the host of puny warriors, and they fled in all directions. In December 1520, Cortez again marched on the capital, a siege lasting until August. I mean, it sounded like people were just laying down for him. A siege that lasted until August of the following year ensued. And then the famous city yielded. The emperor of the Montezumas, the emperor of the Montezumas was overthrown, which is Cortez, right? The emperor of the Montezumas was overthrown, and Mexico became a Spanish province. Why do they speak Spanish in Mexico? Okay. So it goes into deeper about Charles and Charles V doing some stuff. I'm going to get to this corn drop real quick. I'm just going to drop this map on y'all so you can see. This is the Voyage of Discovery, 1000 to 1620. This actually shows the trade route, so somebody can hopefully get I know it's kind of hard to see, but you know, you can see some of the trade routes here. I'll try to let you get a quick skim on it. That's them. I mean, that's us. I mean, them coming to us. Them coming to us. You're from here. They're from here. Old world, or this is really new. Because this land came up first out of the primordial waters, and that's substantiated. And this came out later. This is new. Atlantis was sunk here, then they set up here in the 18th dynasty. Egypt was here first. And again, we got this before with the King James, April 16th, 06. Just read this paragraph and you'll get the drop. The 10th of April, 1606 was full of fate and the destinies, manifest destiny of the Western continent. On that day, King James I issued 2 great patents directed to men of his kingdom, authorizing them to possess and colonize all of that portion of North America, lying in between 34th and the 45th parallels of latitude. The first patent was granted to an association of nobles, gentlemen, merchants residing at London and called the London Company, while the second was called the Plymouth Company. The London Company is the one that remains. The London Company is the one that owns the corporation of America. It's owned by the London Company. So you consider yourself a citizen of a corporation owned by a corporation. Again, 1606, King James I, 1606, right? This is 5 years before 1611. Hijack. New Testament was full of fate and the destinies of the Western continent. You, the Negro, it was your fucking fate. This New Testament hijack brought to you 1611, packaged for you. They taught you that. Hijack. Come on, man. Stop playing. Now they want to play all of a sudden. Let's go. Alright? They taught you that hijack. This is them bringing it to you. That's why you're Christian. That's why you believe in this Son of God. Because they hijacked it in the 1611 and packaged it. And now you're trying to make up for their mistakes. For their evil. For their twisted. For their wickedness. On that day, King James I issued 2 great patents directed to men of his kingdom, not you, authorizing them, not you, to possess and colonize you, all the portions of North America. Think this is play? No. Negative. Let's go. London Company, you got that. Last time I get is this, and we're going to the corn drop. We're going to make this the corniest drop of all time. Shout out to Winnifer Holcomb. This is page 216. This is the colonial history. Continued. Minor southern colonies. Chapter, was that 26? Maryland. It starts with the Captain John Smith. Try not to tear my book up. Colonial history. Let's get it. I'm going to start over here. It says Lord Baltimore's first American enterprise was the planting of a Catholic colony in Newfoundland. Here, King James, who was not unfriendly to the Roman Church, which means he was allied with the Roman Church, Romans, had granted him a patent. So King James had granted him a patent. King James, who was not unfriendly to the Roman Church, had granted him a patent, who? Lord Baltimore, for the southern promontory of the island, or southern portion of the island. And here in 1623, a refuge was established for distressed Catholics. So in 1623, they established a refuge on your land for distressed Catholics. Why would Catholics be distressed? Why would the Romans and these invaders and their families be distressed? Maybe because they're slaughtering Israelites. Maybe because they're getting slaughtered too. Maybe because it's war. So he had to set up shop for those that are slaughtering you so that they are becoming distressed from slaughtering you and converting you. So your invaders were distressed. And who came to their aid? King James, who was not unfriendly to the Roman Church, had granted him a patent. Another damn patent. Before it was to colonize you, right? Subjugate you, colonize you. On 1606 was full of fate in the destinies of the Western continent. On that day, King James I issued 2 great patents directed to men of his kingdom, authorizing them to possess you and colonize you and write the 1611 New Jack Hijack, all the portion of North America. So you got King James, not unfriendly to the Roman Church, meaning he's friends with the Roman Church, had granted him a patent for the southern promontory or portion of the island. And here in 1623, a refuge was established for distressed Catholics or distressed invaders. They got distressed, tired of killing you, hurt from killing you, hurt from invading you. All right. Last part is this. Lord Baltimore left the narrow-minded legislators, returned to London. Remember, this is the London Company. You can't have a president and a vice president of a country. Those are proxies. You can only have a king and queen of a country. So whoever is the king and queen of this London Company or the country in the London Company would be the king and queen of America by default. So Lord Baltimore left the narrow-minded legislators, returned to London himself, drew up a charter for a new state on the Chesapeake, and easily introduced his friend King Charles I, King Charles I, to sign it. The Virginians had saved their religion and lost a province. Saved their religion and lost a province. They saved their religion and lost a province, a certain territory, right? Because they had to sign something. You can get into that. All right? Christianity was declared to be the religion of the state, but no preference was given to any sect or creed. So you could be any denomination of Christianity as long as you're a Christian. As long as you're a Christian, because King Charles I signed it and King James did the 2 patents to possess and colonize you. And who, oh who, is King Charles? And who, oh who, is King James? And oh, Christianity is now voted in as the religion. Atahualpa, Montezuma, Mexico, Peru, Jerusalem, Navel. All right, we've earned our way to some corn drop now. Let's get it. Love to Winnifer Holcomb. My man, let go. Let go, Winnifer.
We want to talk about this up here in the corner. I kind of mentioned the corn a little bit, but I'm gonna pull out the Bible verses, and we're gonna talk about this corn thing. Get down to the bottom of this corn thing, because when I first kind of woke up to the truth and
wait up. He's going to get into the corn, but this is a fresco he brought out before. Check out Winnifer Holcomb's page and just look at the image for a second. I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words if you haven't seen it yet. You see the corn stalks all over the place. Look at the people. Are they not you? Are they not you? What's going on with these people? Huh? Are they not you? Are they not different tribes of you? Whatever you're claiming to be today, are they not tribes of you? This is before Egypt, and this pyramid predates your modern day Kemet or Egypt. Atlantis was here first, hijacking us with pyramids. So you see the hijacking here, you see the false worship going on. But you also see that these people are still in paradise even while they're hijacked. They're still rocking that white and keeping it clean, and the cities are still clean. They were not living like beasts and savages. The people that invaded them, slaughtered them, poisoned them, mutilated them, raped them were savages. Ate them. These cannibals were savages. Cannibals. Cannibals. Real talk. All right, Winnifer, take it away. Love to y'all, man. Stay up, suit up, choose up.
I had questions, and I was asking everybody, people that was learning Hebrew, when I read the Bible, the King James Version or other versions, they always mentioned corn. And I was like, well, how is this possible? Corn is indigenous to the Western world. The rest of the world hasn't seen corn until after Christopher Columbus, Cortez, Spain, the Portuguese, all that. So, and everybody that was learning Hebrew, they always told me corn translated to wheat and barley. But if you read scriptures, in other words, in conjunctive with the word corn, you will see that it's actually talking about actual corn, not wheat and barley, and that's what I'm gonna bring out, and that's what I'm gonna show.
Of course, I can't.
You can watch.
Can't get. Let's go.
My homeboy Drop 432.
Yeah.
Like a 2-hour video talking about King James and the revival of the Bible.
Love, bro.
Maybe somewhere older versions of the Bible, the corn is not in there, and they just got wheat and barley. But after the revisal, all Bibles had corn. Like I said, Kingdrop did a whole lesson on King James and revisal of the Bible. So I suggest you go down to my friends list, check out his video, also to get more understanding. But I'm just gonna try to stick on this corn topic.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna pull out this paper. This is just one source. Like my computer is not working, so I gotta go to the library and print stuff up. This is just one source on corn. I suggest you for another source, just watch any. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of documentaries about corn. So check out my video, and I guess later on or after you watch this, watch the documentary on corn. But let me get into this. This is one source. This is called Origin, History, and Uses of Corn. Brought to you by Lance Gibson and Garen Benson, Iowa State University. Department of Agronomy, revised January 2002. Let's see what they have to say. I had already started highlighting this. I had already started doing this video, but this is on my camera phone, so if I get a call or hit a wrong button, it's over for my whole video. So this is like my third time. Hopefully 3 times the charm. So I had already kind of highlighted some things I kind of want to highlight with you as we were going along, but some things are already highlighted, so we'll just go back over them. We'll start at History and Origin. For the Western civilization, the story of corn began in 1492. For the Western civilization, the story of corn began in 1492. When Columbus man discovered this new grain in Cuba.
Let's go.
This first sentence right here should have said for Eastern civilization. Corn is indigenous to the Western world. So the rest of the world, the East, did not know anything about corn until Columbus man discovered this new grain in Cuba. An American native, it was exported to Europe rather than being imported, as were other major grains. See this? It was being exported.
Read it. Read it. I mean, that's the drop. Read it. Peace and love to Winnifer, Holcomb. Subscribe to King, man. It's just pure water. You know what I mean? Simple and plain. king is pure water, simple and plain. For Western civilization, you can check out the sources. He printed them out. Again, start printing out your sources because it makes sense to get them in hand. This is from Lance Gibson and Garen Benson from Iowa State University, Department of Agronomy. Revised January 2002. Origin, history, and uses of corn. Zeme, Maya, Zeme, Zemai. History and origin. Alright? What does it say? Let's go. History and origin. For Western civilization, the story of corn began in 1792 when Columbus's men discovered this grain in Cuba. So when they say Western civilization, they mean their new civilized world, right? They're not talking about you. They're not talking about the indigenous Mexican and Peruvian and Ame'rican. They're talking about them. So for their civilization, the story of corn began in 1492. When Columbus's men discovered this new grain in Cuba. It was a new grain and a new thing to Columbus and the entire other world that was invading you. That has invaded you. An American native, it was exported to Europe rather than being imported. So if it was exported from here to there, that means they found it here and they did not have it there when Jesus is picking corn in 30 AD. So what are you trying to say? Jesus is here picking corn? You trying to bring Jesus here picking corn? Well, now you got to get that substantiating evidence of your son being here picking corn. But it wasn't there. It's indigenous here. An American native, it was exported. It was exported. It was exported. Corn was exported to Europe rather than being imported, as were other major grains. Corn mentioned in the Bible probably refers to wheat or barley, so then they try to like, oh shit, let's cover our tracks and call it wheat or barley. But the brother gets into it. Let's go.
Exported to Europe rather than being imported. So, what else is being exported with the corn and other grains? Slaves maybe? It was being exported rather than imported. So, this sentence right here can also be said with the Negro and the slave being exported out rather than imported. Okay? Like most early history, there is some uncertainty to as when corn first went to Europe. Some say it went back to Columbus to Spain, while others report that it was not returned to Spain until the second visit of Columbus. So, was it that saying corn is not indigenous to over there? They have not seen it until Spain and the Portuguese conquered Mexico. The word corn has many different meanings depending on what country you are in. Corn in the United States is also maize or Indian corn. In some countries, corn means the leading crop grown in a certain district. Corn in England means wheat. In Scotland and Ireland, it refers to oats. Corn mentioned in the Bible probably refers to wheat or barley. Now, this is what the people that were so-called learned in Hebrew used to always tell me. It translates to wheat or barley, wheat and barley, wheat and barley. It sounds more like a repeat thing to me because they really didn't know and didn't bother to try to do any research on it.
Excuses.
I think they didn't want to know.
Come on.
They was happy with the lie that they was given.
Come on.
So, we're going to keep this in mind, the wheat and barley. Corn mentioned in the Bible probably refers to wheat or barley, okay? Keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to keep going down a little bit. At first, corn was only garden curiosity in Europe, but it soon began to recognize as valuable food crop. Within a few years, it spread throughout France, Italy, and all the southeastern Europe and northern Africa. By 1575, it was making its way into western China and had become important to the Philippines and the East Indies. Although corn is indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, let me highlight that. Although corn is indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, its exact birthplace is far less certain. Archaeological evidence of corn's early presence in the Western Hemisphere was identified from corn pollen grain considered to be 80,000 years old, obtained from drill cores 200 feet below Mexico City. Another archaeological study of bat caves in New Mexico revealed corn cobs that were 5,600 years old by radiocarbon determination. Most historians believe corn was domesticated in the Tuacan Valley of Mexico. I'm going to highlight this. Domesticated. The word domesticated. What was that mean? What did that whole sentence mean? Most historians believe corn was domesticated. The original wild form has long been extinct. So what does that mean? It's been domesticated. Leave a comment in the box if you understand.
So yo, man, check out Winnifer Holcomb, man, who got the drop. I'm gonna conclude it like this and like that and like this and matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all a new discovery. This shit crazy. First, I'm gonna show you this. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, maybe 3. So, of course, you know, I'm trying to handle this book here. And, of course, I taped it already, but, you know, it's an old book. It's tearing apart. As you see, it's all ripped up, tearing apart. But it just kind of ripped open even more on me. You know what I'm saying? When I was doing all this drop. See, it's just coming all apart. I can't even... The JC Ridpath is coming off, so I got to do some construction work on it. So this whole page came out. But that's all right, because we got tape, as long as we get the drop. Now read what it said right there. Entered according to the Act of Congress, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, Corporation, owned by the London Company, in the office of the Library of Congress. History of the United States. What does it say right here? It's all worn out. From the discovery of America to the present time. Alright? So, Act of Congress, Library of Congress. History of the United States. Let's get this first little part right here in the preface. I'll let you read it. Okay. Dear people of the United States, by this, my preface, I offer you a new history. New history. Right? Alright, so this ain't the, you know, we're going to mix in some new and old, right? So, by this, my preface, I offer you a new history of your country and mine. The work is presented in the form of an abridged narrative. My reasons for such a venture are brief, but I trust satisfactory. First, and this is what we're going to pay attention to. First, to every American citizen, they're not talking about you. They're talking about citizens of the corporation or people that are calling themselves American. Not the copper-colored races, not the red men, right? You're called an American. They're called Americans. Your invaders are called American citizens, and you're called red men, Indian, Negro, black, colored niggers. First, to every American citizen or hijacker, some knowledge of the history of his country is indispensable. Why is it indispensable? Why is it indispensable? Why is it indispensable? Why does he first say to every hijacker or invader, some knowledge of the history of this country is indispensable? You got to know it for your salvation. You got to know truly that these are the people of the Most High here. That Jerusalem's here. Joseph Smith knew that when he set up shop and brought the Mormon game over there into Utah, into the Four Corners. So why is it indispensable? Well, for the same reason why he says the origin of the North American Indians is involved in complete obscurity. Many theories are vague. We don't know where they came from. They're the oldest race of mankind, but at what date or by what route they came to the Western continent is an unresolved problem. However, the notion that the Indians are descendants of the Israelites is absurd. It's obscure, but the notion, the thought that the Indians are Israelites is inappropriate. Why is it inappropriate? Maybe for the same reason it might be hidden behind these words here I just found. And I don't know what it says. Y'all tell me if I should just rip this thing open, because there's some words back here. And the word that popped out to me, and I hope you can see, right there. Can you see it? This word is Israel. And it has to be a whole thing about Israel. Maybe this is a verse. Maybe these are scriptures. Wish you could see it better. I'm trying to get you to more light. If I go like this, you might see it. I don't know if y'all can see it. If I can prop this up. Hold up. Maybe you can see it like this. That right here says Israel. Let me pull this back. Right here. Israel, or Israel. So, oh, got him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The notion that the Indians are descendants of the Israelites is absurd. Hidden underneath the cover. It looks like scripture, it looks like some other drop, and right here it says, right above my fingertips, if you can make it out again. That says Israel in cursive. The drop is always hidden in the book. Love y'all. Stay up, suit up, choose up.